Hello again from Central Virginia on this gorgeous, gorgeous October afternoon, mid-October afternoon. Today I'm going to show you some more about Egyptian walking onions. I did a video in the early summer, I think it was, about them and showed you how they were growing in the springtime. And today I'm going to show you how to plant them and kind of how they're doing just right now. Egyptian walking onions are perennial onions, and you use them just like you use regular onions. With a couple of nice benefits. One is you can use every single part of the onion. I have here in my hand the bulbs that I'm going to plant today, and you can see that they come in different sizes. As the plant grows, as you'll see, it sends up a stalk like an onion, and what's different about a walking onion is it will develop little onion sets at the end, and they're just little new bulbs. Those bulbs will often sprout another stem and produce another cluster of little bulbs, or bulbils they're called. And you can just save them as they come in and dry them and plant them in the fall, as I'm going to do today. But the other cool thing about them, which is how they get their name of walking onions, is they will flop over, and these can just plant themselves in the ground. Hence, the plant will continue to replicate. And I'll show you in my garden where that's happened in a few places. I didn't harvest that many out of there this year because I wanted to get the perennial patch going. And if you dig up the main bulb, then the whole plant dies. So I want to get enough main bulbs and main plants growing so that I can spare a few of those as the years progress. So let me show you what they look like right now growing and how I'm going to plant them. Last year, I just started planting little patches of walking onions in a variety of spots. And I felt like they would be nice on the perimeters of beds and might even help keep some things out of there, like little voles and things like that. And you can see that there is a row of Egyptian onions that I planted, and they are growing. Now, here's an example of the mature one. And you can see it has dried. The main part is dried. And you can see that it has these little bulbils on the end, and look at them sprouting. So I am tempted just to let that cluster plant itself. You can see how it's growing up here from the main bulb. I'm going to pull a couple of those little weeds out. Onions really don't like weeds. And here are some that sprouted from bulbils that had dropped. These dried ones were from the ones I planted last year. And you can see over here, brand new ones coming up that had sprouted, that had planted when the stalk fell over. And so I have a little patch that is beginning in this area, and I'm just going to continue to add into this area, and perhaps we'll end up with a nice, big, huge patch of onions on this edge. That's what I'm looking for. Here is where they were, and you can see how they've planted themselves back here. Here's another batch over here that's starting to sprout. I may end up pulling those out and planting them elsewhere. This is a super easy thing to plant. You can, for a big cluster like this, I'm actually going to pull these apart, and each one of these will produce an onion, and those will produce more onions and a little in a cluster. For tiny ones like this, I am tempted just to plant half or all of this little cluster of bulbils, and they will grow. I'm just going to fill in where there are no onions. And you can see, they plant themselves, but I'm just going to add some back in here. This one is both very nice firm bulbs. You want to make sure that you start with good firm bulbs. I'm going to pull these two apart. You're going to plant the root side down, the pointy side up. They don't go real deep. You can actually let the tops just bud out like that. This guy in here. They will just take off. I'm going to pull that mulch back around. I'm really going to make a thick border right along this, this wood chip path, because I really do want to be able to keep rodents out of my garden. So I'm going to go ahead and plant pretty thickly. And I know that over the years, these are going to continue to do well. Now, take a look at this one. This one has a nice little sprout coming out, so I know that's viable. But this side is soft and gushy, so it's going to go bye-bye. That one's going to just go right there, and it'll continue to grow. I'm going to pull the mulch around closely. Dried leaves are perfectly fine to have around. Now, you can take these shoots and just trim them just like you would use chives or green onions, and you can eat those right now. These are super, super hardy. I don't know what the zones are that they actually are supposed to grow to, but my understanding is they can grow pretty widely, at least here in the United States. Let's just take this little bundle here and just pop it right in the ground. That's right, like that. No, they will grow. They'll root and they'll grow. When I first planted them, I really didn't know what I was doing. I just sort of did some of the clusters and some individuals, and they grew. So I think they're not particularly picky. It's nice because the voles don't eat them. I'm hoping that by planting more onions in here, I can keep the voles away. Those are the volunteers, or the naturally planted expanding ones. So next year, this little patch will continue to grow into a very big, thick patch. So you might want to know what they taste like and how I have used them. As I said, I didn't harvest a ton of the larger bulbs. The larger bulbs don't look exactly like onions. They look more like, shaped more like a shallot, but bigger. So they're kind of elongated onions. And they taste like onions. They're very good. I harvested a few of them and used them just, as I would use an onion, and they were quite tasty. I have not used that many of just the little bulbels because I think they're so tiny, but I did put a few. I had a handful, and I put a few in a beef stew that I made. I mostly use them for the greens on top, and I'll just come out and snip a green, and I'll use it just like a green onion, or I'll use it like I use chives, and they're very delicious and tasty. And they grow here without much trouble. So that's all there is to planting Egyptian walking onion. Super, super, super easy, super tasty, perennial. So, and I would say pretty much carefree. They just keep going, and then you get more, and then I've given some bulbels away for other people to plant as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope your garden is growing well and that you are well. Take care. Bye.